How long has NASCAR been racing at Martinsville Speedway? Well, since the very beginning. On July 4th, 1947, more than 4,000 fans jammed into the one-year-old dirt half-mile racetrack to watch Fonnie Flock beat his brother Tim, Buck Baker, and sanctioning body founder Bill France himself in a NASCAR's sixth ever race. The racetrack that Clay Earls carved out of the Virginia countryside was shaped like a paperclip, and just 137 feet more than a half-mile in length. 0.526 miles, to be exact. Other than an asphalt paving job in 1955 and the addition of more durable concrete lanes in the 12-degree banked corners 21 years later, Martinsville Speedway, the only remaining NASCAR venue from the 47 season, is the same configuration it was when the gates were first opened. And then there's the addition of the grandstands to increase the seating capacity from the original 750 to the 85,000 seats it boasts today. Now a NASCAR property, Martinsville hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, Craftsman Trucks, Late Model Stocks, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. With short, tight, modestly banked corners, the competition is tight. It can get quite physical. After 500 laps at Martinsville, few, if any, cars are unscathed. Tonight, it's race number 7 of the Vigilante Racing League, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to race number 7 of season 11 of the Vigilante Racing League here at Martinsville Speedway tonight. Race details: 200 laps the distance, 70-degree ambient temperature, 76% humidity, overcast skies, 9-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temp a little cooler than last night in the Dum Thumbs Racing League. It was 115 there. It's 85 here. We'll see if that makes a difference in the handling characteristics of these trucks this evening. Drivers with the same percentage of fuel, 55%, which gives them 70 to 72 laps on a full load under green flag conditions. Again, it's a short track. I don't know if we're going to make it that far. We'll see. Time will tell. And 4 sets of tires over the wall. That is effectively double what we had available last night, but I think we only changed tires once last evening. So real curious to see how this one changes up. We've got 1 fast repair if necessary. Correction, no fast repairs tonight. 1 green-white checkered finish if necessary. Again, 200 laps. Hopefully we get to the conclusion of this one before time expires. That's the goal. We'll see what happens. With that qualifying underway, and I do have Chris Goins up in the broadcast booth with me again here tonight. Chris kind of doing his cameo appearances here as of late. Chris ran the race last night in the Dum Thumbs Racing League. How did it go for you last evening? I think you had a solid finish.
Yeah, we ended up P3, Steve. It was pretty uneventful for me, surprisingly enough, which is good. Didn't really get involved in much. The very last lap, I got my first 4X of the evening. So, but we still snuck through and ended up P3. So we'll take it after all the chaos that ensued last.
Just about a minute left in qualifying. Right now, the top time is the 89 of Craig Goodenough, 19.469. Already seeing lap times quicker than qualifying last night by almost 2.5 tenths. That cloud cover and cooler track temperature certainly helping. Last night, I think the top 10 were only drivers below 20 seconds. Here, Dobson with a 19.9. He's 24th on his first lap, likely to pick it up here on lap number 2. (1964), 13th quick. Good jump in time, or drop of time for that matter. Seems that just about everybody's already got their laps logged in here. A few drivers have yet to make an attempt. Scott Roney, Mike Adamson, Larry Dickerson, Kelly Kuhl, John Gallagher, Chris Klein. Everybody else has been on the track at least for a singular lap. We'll see if that changes here. Not likely with just about 5 seconds left in the session. Again, a little under the weather here tonight, as you heard if you watched last night's broadcast. We're going to power through this one here tonight. Again, Chris is here in the booth to help us out as always, but certainly going to be a big help this evening with me being a little bit under the weather. So, Chris, again, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, Steve, no problem. I enjoy covering these with you, and hopefully we get to see some actual racing here tonight. And a little short track beating and banging is never a bad thing as long as it's in moderation.
Well, with that, it's time. Let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 19.469 seconds, it is the 89 of Craig Goodenough. Outside front row, John Osborne missed it by 1/1000th of a second. That's pretty close. Row number 2, Alan Vaught in the 33, and Ricky Wittenberg. Row 3 is George Rincon and Andrew Player. Row 4, it's the 6 of Trevor Robertson, Russ Kilgore. Row 5, it's DW, Derek Welch, and Sean McDonald. Starting in the 11th position, it's the 1 of David Fite. 12th is John McAdam. Greg Dobson, the 085 from Phoenix Racing, starts 13th. Andrew Coffin, 14th. 15th starter, it's Dustin Wade. Jeremiah Burke, 16th. 17th is Dustin Eden. 18th starter is Albert Anderson. Jack Dixon, 19th. 20th, Greg Klein. 21st belongs to the 84 of Josh Bittner. 22nd, Anthony Williams. Tim Pope, 23rd. 24th, Mike Everidge. 25th, Dave Mayberry. Kyle Vaught, the number 16, starts 26th. 27th, it's Kevin Hunt. 28th, Larry Dickerson. Mike Adamson, 29th. Scott Roney, 30th. 31st, Chris Klein. Kelly Cool, 32nd. And shotgun on the field in the 1-2-3. It's the 33 of all the way around. 33rd starter, John Gallagher. That's your starting grid here from Martinsville. We're going to get rolling here momentarily. Likely 2, maybe 3 pace laps, depending on if we can get everybody where they need to be as the field rolls away from the starting grid. Looking at the race details again, 200 laps the race distance, 100 miles, 70-degree air temperature, 75% humidity, still overcast skies, 6-mile-per-hour breeze. It's calmed down a bit. Track temperature 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers on a 55% fuel load, so that'll shorten up that full fuel run just a bit to about 70, 72 laps, all under green if we're going to get that far. We'll see what it does if we get a bunch of cautions. 4 sets of tires over the wall, no fast repairs, 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Well, who's your pick there, Chris?
Well, I was sitting here going through it while we were sitting here. I'm going to go with somebody a little different this week. I'm going to take the 55, old Ricky Wittenberg. I think he's been pretty strong as of late.
Okay, Ricky's a short track guy. It's not a bad pick. I'm going to go with a little more obvious, I think. That's going to be tough. Craig Goodenough for Alan Vaught. I'm going to go with Alan Vaught.
Green, green, green.
Green flag in the air. We're underway from Martinsville. Field into turn 3. Goodenough on the bottom of the racetrack. Osborne looking around the outside for the top spot. Out of turn 4. Osborne will lead lap number 1. Goodenough in the second spot, still side by side down turn number 1. Alan Vaught hot on both those trails, still trying to get a feel for the truck, as is just about everybody else. So far, cleaner than last night's start, but it doesn't take much. It was turn 1, lap 1 last evening. Chris, I'm real curious to see how the track temperature changes the handling characteristics on these trucks as far as the forgivability of having them step out and want to come around and the ability of the drivers to save it this evening.
Yeah, with what did you say the track temperature was, like 80, 81 or 86?
Well, track temp tonight, 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Last night, when we started at least, it was 115. And we are a little later in the day here in this race tonight, so we're likely to see that temp come down. We'll keep an eye on it as the race progresses. But typically, within reason, the cooler the better.
Absolutely, yeah. That 30-degree swing is huge. That track last night was slick, slip sliding around. Looks like these guys have a pretty good handle on the grip so far. Certainly helps, with that lower track temp, and that concrete is not necessarily as susceptible to that heat difference too.
Concrete patches in the corners, asphalt everywhere else, though it does look pretty gray. It's just very weathered and aged. It's been there a long time.
Caution.
And there's our first yellow of the night.
Good job,
Looks
bud. Tell me
to
what
be
you got
maybe
quickly.
Kevin Hunt, the 434. Let's take a look, see what happened to Kevin. Kevin and Everidge coming together, it looks, maybe. Oh, yeah. Definitely contact on entry to turn 3. Sends Hunt up the track. Might get a piece of the wall here with the right rear. He does. Not a major incident, but our first yellow of the night nonetheless. So not likely to see anybody opt for pit lane here. Maybe for fuel if we want some guys to maybe jumble up the strategies a bit. It's kind of hard to do. I know again last night, Chris, we had, I think it was 21 yellows last evening. How do you really plan for that, or even how do you change your game plan when that becomes the issue? I think we're getting a yellow about every 7 or so laps last evening. I thought we were back in Indy back during the tire debacle day, but what are you doing differently in that situation? Is there anything you can do if you're just going to expect it to be that chaotic?
No, I don't think anybody ever expects it to be as chaotic as it could turn out to be, and as it may have been last night. For our team, it was, we're kind of playing it by ear. We're looking at other people's strategies. They kind of had their own setup there. We just wanted to run it just long because we figured if we were going to save tire by running under caution, may as well run the gas out and make it a short stint at the end to give us some fresher tires compared to everybody else. So it's really hard to plan for stuff like that. You're just kind of winging it and playing it by ear at that point.
Well, we'll see how things pan out here. So far, it's first caution. It was about lap 5 when Kevin crashed. Again, just a little bit too aggressive too early here at Martinsville, making some contact with another driver when you're really not in the midst of a major battle. Again, only in the first 5 laps. You got to kind of dial it back a bit. Kind of need to ride around for a little while. I know it's not as fun if you're a driver. Certainly, the fans don't necessarily care to see you guys just kind of making laps for a while. But at the same token, pace truck shouldn't lead more laps than the race truck. So we'll see how things go from here.
Yeah, and judging by that first 5 laps there, especially here at the front of the field, you saw them kind of single file out. Looks like they were pretty patient with each other, so maybe if that happens and they can kind of get everybody coordinated like that, it'll run some long runs here.
Well, knowing Lori, she probably had a pretty stern talking to all these guys before this one got underway, trying not to have a crazy race, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Base car's in, field in turn 4, waiting for Barney to wave the green, and there it is. We're back racing from Martinsville. Good enough's going to lead him back to the stripe. Then it's Alan Vaught up to the 2nd spot. Robertson 3rd. Osborne has fallen back to the 4th position, and he's got more company. The 28 of George Rincon.
One thing you saw in that restart, or one thing that I noticed, it looked like the 81 spun the tires a little bit, and that's why he kind of got stuck on the outside and lost a few spots. So be on the lookout for that a lot tonight, especially if these guys are starting in 2nd gear. Last night we made the decision to restart in 3rd gear just to prevent that, and it seemed to help. If you got these guys starting in 2nd gear, I think you'll see a lot of wheel spin. I think even Drew Blaze spun the tires on the opening race.
We got Gallagher around here, caution number 2. This officially coming out lap 13. Barney just getting it done with that yellow flag.
He better pace himself.
Yeah, he better slow down.
Tired.
It's going to be a rough night for him if he's going that hard this early. Let's see what happened here to Gallagher. Kyle Vaught to the inside. And Kyle had a pretty good entry there. It's hard to see exactly. I want to look at this from another angle here. I got a camera in the center of the track to watch. I don't know if it was a dive bomb or not. It seemed like Kyle was there just enough to the inside of the left rear. Again, it's a pretty aggressive move for early on, but if Gallagher's watching, they both drove it in real deep. You saw how quick they reeled in Scott Roney, but then you got Bittner up top of the track. I don't know if something happened to him too. Well, caution number 2 here at Martinsville. Slow us once again. Getting caught up here in the stream chat, we had Tim McAdam retract a message. How dare you, Tim? Then he comes back, says, hey, Steve, have a great broadcast. It's the 47's night tonight. Go, Johnny. You got Verde, says LFG 16. Lori Vaught, of course. I bought a brand new notebook for tonight. Good thing. Be writing in the margins if you didn't. Dalton Shoulders cheering on the 55 of Ricky Hoytenberg. Ricky running back in the 8th spot, solidly in the top 10 for the time being. Lost a few spots, though. He was up in 4th when he started off. So lights on a pace truck are out again. I will say iRacing has seemingly sped up these cautions here for the trucks at Martinsville. I remember them being so much longer, but last night, even though we had a bunch, didn't seem to take terribly long. Same thing seems to be happening tonight, so that's a good thing to see. Pace car is in.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. So out front is definitely going to be the place you want to be all night long here. Clean air is important everywhere we go, even on these smaller tracks like Martinsville. It does play a part. I think anything above 61 miles an hour, I believe is the term that I heard, aero does matter. So even though we're really slow in the middle of these corners, it does make a difference, especially on corner entry on your braking. Certainly paying off for Craig now as he's stretched it to over half a second over Alan Vaught. Further back through the field here, some more battles at play. The 23, Sean McDonald, losing the ground here to the 10 of Andrew Coffin. Meanwhile, Derek Welch down 5 spots, was fast in practice. See if we can get him in some clean air with some strategy. He may be able to pick up a win here tonight too. David Fite takes a look to the inside on Dixon, lets him go. Chris, really, what is the best way to set up a pass here at Martinsville? You just got to really get a super clean exit and set them up for the next one. Is that kind of the best way?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to take a couple of corners to do it, especially if you're trying to do it on the bottom, because that high side does get a pretty decent run, just like anywhere else. But seems like especially here you can get a good straight run off of that corner as you see.
Oh, trouble, Kyle Vaught.
Caution. Talk to you about your car real quick.
Kyle Vaught not at turn 2 in the fence, had some help. I think it may have been the 29 of Dave Mayberry. Crashberry, sorry. We're not still doing that? All right, sorry, Dave.
I think it's fair.
All right, caution 3, lap 24. Let's see what happened here. Just a moment ago, you see Mayberry in the black, sorry, the blue and red, number 29, trailing the 16 of Kyle Vaught. They're going to make some contact here out of corner number 2. It almost looks like Kyle might have got loose before. No, Mayberry makes a little bit of contact on exit, tries to open the wheel up. I think it's hard to say exactly. Kyle may have been trying to pinch him down a little bit lower and not let him fully open up. Two trucks going for the same piece of racetrack, it looks like. They meet in the middle.
Yeah, it looked like that was just a product of Mayberry just getting in the throttle just a hair sooner and maybe expecting Kyle to wash out a little bit more than he did.
Either way, yellow flags are on the racetrack. Third time this afternoon, 26 laps in. Now, going back, looking through the server with VRL earlier, Laurie did mention to the drivers tonight, anyone that comes out of here without any incident points, I believe they're going to get 3 championship bonus points towards their total for the season. I know that's going to be a tall task, but good that she mentioned it. Pace truck enters turn 3 pit lane entrance. Field out of turn number 4 as we await the green flag. It's back underway from the 3rd caution. There it is. We're back underway again. Little contact with Robertson and Alan Vaught at the start-finish line. Alan Vaught goes around turn 2, and he's going to get drilled by Dustin Eaton and others still piling in. So caution number 4, 29 laps in. Oh, Allen with troubles now again, drives it into the wall. Might have some damage on that truck. I don't know if Allen missed a shift or spun the tires, but it seemed Robertson really got there in front of him quickly, and it jacked up the outside lane. And then the 28 just comes up off the bottom a hair, but Allen was right there. He goes around in front of traffic on the restart. Nowhere for Eaton to go. Pieces of debris 50 feet in the air.
You know, it looked like, Steve, that was exactly what we were talking about earlier with that wheel spin. It looked like he just kind of got a little sideways there at the beginning, and the 81 just got to him and he couldn't catch it.
Let's go on board and listen. Let's see if we can catch this. Coming to green, Alan Vaught, moment ago. Definitely some tire spin there, but I think it was a combination. It was tire spin and missed shift, probably because he's banging off the chip.
And then right here, his brain just gets turned into scrambled eggs.
So Allen's going to come to pit lane here for some repairs. So I could have sworn, and I could just be sick and not paying attention, but man, I could have sworn there was a fast repair allocated for this series on these tracks, really all of them for that matter, but it looks to be no fast repair tonight. Maybe I'm getting it mixed up with Numb Thumbs, but I thought they ran without a fast repair too. You'd know better than me, Chris.
Yeah, we ran without fast repair for everything except for super speedways and road course, I think.
Now, we talked a little bit about this late last night in the broadcast, so if you weren't here, you're going to hear it again. And if you were here, you're going to hear it again. Green flag's already back out. Oh, that was quick. But what I'm trying to say there, Chris, is these two leagues, Numb Thumbs and VRL, they've got a ton of drivers, which is a great thing on the majority of the tracks that we go to. And sometimes these half-mile tracks, it just gets crowded. I know there's some drivers missing here tonight, but still, it's a small, tight racetrack. What I was mentioning last night could be an alternative on these smaller tracks is run it like you do your Saturday night short track type stuff. Do heat races, get the best of the best to run the feature, but do the heat races, do an LCQ, do all of that to try and get the cream of the crop in the final. But this way, still everybody gets to race, pay points for the heats, the whole 9 yards. I know it's a nightmare situation for the admins to try and work out who's where and who gets what points, but I think it would make for some better racing while still being able to come to these tighter, smaller tracks.
Yeah, it would definitely, I think it definitely would put on a better show as far as, on the broadcast and things like that. I mean, and better quality for the racers, the one, because you definitely want to get out there and race, not pace around, but I'm a little old school. I want it.
Correct.
I want it just normal stuff. If 434s around.
I've had no idea what's going on. All right.
Caution on the speedway again. Kevin Hunt, second incident this evening for the 434. Let's try to unpack it. Seemed that there were many drivers involved in this one as well. So Mike Adamson swaps lanes, gets to the inside, but can't keep it. No. Hunt was just trying to drive it in just a touch deeper. Goes around on his own. Maybe that wasn't the yellow. Let's check this. 3 wide out of 4. Pope, Klein, and I think Jeremiah Burke. Pope drives it in a little deep, gets the left rear fight, and then it's the stack up. So if it weren't for one, it would be the other. So with this caution, our 5th of the night, lap 38 here at Martinsville. We're going to step aside briefly and get a break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Martinsville Speedway on the 1 to go. We'll get the restart at lap 41. I hate to say it, but just doing some quick math, we're on pace for the same number of cautions as we had last night. Last evening we had 4 by lap 41, but it was a shorter event. We've got 5 now, 40 laps in. Stick around, guys. I know it can be difficult to watch these, but there's bound to be some crazy finish or some awesome thing that you're going to miss if you walk away. So stick around, hang out here and watch this thing.
Green flag.
There it is. Green flag back in the air.
Caution,
Oh,
caution.
trouble in the middle of 3 and 4.
Quickly, tell me what you got.
Anthony Williams, Alan Vaught, David Feit involved again. Just a moment ago. Oh, 123 at Gallagher totally missed the braking point. Tried to drive it down the bottom of the track to avoid contact, but at that rate of speed, nothing you're going to be able to do to slow that one down. So, Chris, in the break, we were kind of talking about that as far as it seems like a lot of these are just overdriving your entry, missing that point where you got to get on the brakes. It's obviously what happened there is Gallagher didn't have a clear view of any of his landmarks on the wall or wherever his may be. Clearly didn't get to the brakes in time.
Yeah, and once you miss that point, it's, you know, you miss it by half a car length and it throws the entire corner off. And when you're bunched up like that close together, it's can be catastrophic. Noticed with these trucks too last night that the iRacing has the brake bias set pretty far back, And if you're not careful, you get on the brakes too hard, it's going to slip slide you around, and it'll swing the tail end of the truck around in a heartbeat. So hopefully some of these guys caught that in practice and maybe move that up some to give them a little bit more stability on corner entry. It does affect the ability to brake late, but it will give you a more stable corner entry. So hopefully we see that a little bit too.
Green flag, green flag.
Green back in the air. Good enough with a good jump. Osborne drives it a little deep, slips up the track, gets into the 6 of Robertson. Kind of shoves him up the track, gives him some space to get that position. So Osborne now to P3. Robertson's going to big lose here. He's back to 5th, maybe 6th here if 47 can get through. Still a side-by-side battle, Robertson and John McAdam. This for the 5th position. Robertson probably not real pleased right now. Osborne rooted him up the racetrack here, and it's cost him a couple of spots already, and it's put him in a difficult position here to the outside of McAdam. McAdam gets through. He'll take the 5th spot, but now Russ Kilgore pressuring Robertson. Trevor still can't get to the bottom of the racetrack, which is really where he needs to be right now. Otherwise, Ricky Wittenberg, if he gets close, he may follow Kilgore through, but now Robertson stays ahead of the two.
Caution, caution.
And caution is out. John Gallagher in trouble again.
Kind of talk me through what's going on again.
Now we'll see what happened here to the 123. The outside of Dave Mayberry. I think he just got in a little too deep, slipped up into the slippery stuff, and trouble getting out of the corner. The rest is history. Not a major incident, but still yellow is out. So with that, we're going to step aside and get a short break out of the way yet again. We'll be back with a restart after this. Back in Martinsville Speedway, working caution number 7 here after 54 laps. Quick apology to those of you out there that heard some foul language out of the spotters. We made adjustments to correct that, so you shouldn't hear any more of that this evening.
That's just those short track tempers, Steve.
Well, it's the Chad and Jimmy spotter pack, but I got the cuss words on because I like getting fired up when I race, but I forgot to switch it back, so that's my mistake. Base truck is in. Here we go again.
Green flag, green flag.
So again, Osborne gets away clean. That was kind of the story of the night last evening. The leader well in control on these restarts, and truthfully, it opens up the door for third place more than anything. You see, as Osborne restarted third, he gets the advantage, was able to get to the inside of Rincon. Cone having a good lap, though. Little too high on entry, though. I was worried he was going to get up into the marbles there, but he's still holding his own against the 81 out of turn 2. So Rincon able to maintain that second position and now putting some daylight between himself and Osborne. Race leader doing the same to everybody else, almost a full second advantage. Back to Rincon, Osborne, Player, and McAdam. That's the top 5, but give a call to John McAdam up into that 5th position. He's made some forward progress here from the 12th spot where he started. Tim McAdam certainly cheering on that 47. Oh, a little trouble out of turn 4. Didn't catch who it was. Looks to be the 25. 23 maybe, Sean McDonald? Yeah, it was the 23, Sean McDonald. Real slow in the middle of 3 and 4, but gathered it up to avoid the caution. He's going to lose a ton of ground, though. He's down to the 22nd spot. To regroup and start to work back forward. Everidge, the next on the list for him. Still watch Sean McDonald here in 22nd. Greg Klein behind him. Klein in the 92, and then it's Alan Vaught. Unfamiliar position back in the 24th spot. See if he can fight his way through this crowd of trucks and work back towards the top 5 and still be a contender before this one's over. Lots of racing left. And we got trouble. Adamson facing the wrong way. Still no yellow. Up there it is. So Adamson facing the inside wall there out of turn number 2. See what happened just a moment ago to the 88. So Chris, let's go back to that. I know we've already talked a little bit about it here tonight, but brake bias. You talked how that was super important last night in the handling of these trucks. They come stock with, I think we said 61% brake balance from front to rear. That means you've got a lot of rear brake in these trucks, which makes them tend to over-rotate on entry on the brakes if you're a little too aggressive with them. Go back to your experiences on that last night. I know you said you did push the brakes pretty far forward.
Yeah, I moved them up like 5 full percent. I think I was running 66%. So, you know, one thing you notice, especially if you try to brake late or anything like that, you get in those brakes hard, it's going to send the tail end of the truck around, especially with heavy fuel loads. You know, as the run went on, I say the run, as the night went on, because we didn't run a whole lot, but it burned off fuel, and as the fuel got burned off, you can lower that back down just a little bit and account for the lighter weight in the rear, but with a heavy load of fuel, that much rear brake is going to do exactly what you see with Adamson here. My guess is he probably got into the corner a little bit too hard. Thought he was going to wash up the track, so he engaged the brakes just a little bit harder, and that little bit harder just locked up that rear just enough to send that tail end of the truck around. And good job by these guys missing it for the most part, especially when he starts backing up here. That's it gets a little sketchy there. So good heads up driving by all these guys coming around here.
Now, with that said, obviously you say he got on the brakes a little bit harder, likely, as that's what took the truck around. What is the best method to avoid spinning the truck out? Just kind of let it wash up the track and slow it down gradually as you approach the wall?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in that position where you've sent it into the corner a little too hard and you're washing up, yeah, just you gotta let it go. Especially if there's nobody to the outside. Ideally, you want to get into the brakes hard and early in a straight line, so that way as you're getting in the corner, you're either able to just trail brake through the corner or be completely off of them and just roll the corner. So,
with that said, Mike Fahey in the chat says, I was cranking my knob all night last night. Brake bias, of course. Thanks, Mike.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. Oh, a little wheel spin from Klein. Checks up Mayberry as well. What's it going to do to the rest of the field here? McAdam in the fence, so we got trouble behind. Straightened him out again.
Caution.
And there's the yellow.
The fuck is the caution for?
Okay, well, I thought we fixed that. I guess we did not.
Yeah.
We'll have to try again. Chad's getting mouthy, and I turned the cuss back off, so I don't know what's going on. Well, under yellow for the 9th time tonight. Lap 70 in the books. I think it might have been Larry Dickerson here. Let's see if we can catch this. McAdam gets run into in the back. McAdam spins in front of these guys. Dickerson just kind of comes to a stop. Might have kissed the nose of the 47 a little bit. But yeah, we're going to jump out here, and I might have to turn the spotter off entirely. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Brakes are hot. All right, folks, we're back in action here. We've turned the spotter volume all the way down, so you're not going to hear really anything out of Earl and Chad here tonight. So, again, apologies for that. So 73 laps in, it's still Craig Goodenough. He's led it since the drop of the green flag for the most part. I think Osborne may have led that first lap, but he is really nowhere to be found now, back in 17th place. Goodenough has maintained the top spot. Now Albert Anderson second, Wittenberg third. Pope has quietly worked his way up to fourth. He's up 19 spots. DW rounding out the top 5. Green back in the air. Goodenough with the jump down into 1. Battle on for second. Wittenberg, Albert Anderson, side by side down the back. And yellow is out again. Mike Adamson appears to be the culprit this time. Yes, indeed. Exit of turn 2. He gathers it up, drives away from the scene. So not a major incident by any means, but nice and quiet. No bad words this time. Let's see what happened here to the 88. A little too presumptuous on the power. Round she goes. Seemed to be hooked up there for a minute. I think if you opened up the wheel a little bit, it wouldn't have happened, but nevertheless, he goes around. And we got Edith Anderson in the house, saying hello, Team Anderson in the house. Thanks for checking in, saying hey. As we approach halfway here at Martinsville, keep in mind we've got Darlington Raceway next week, and I believe you're going to see some throwback schemes here next week, so that's kind of the idea. It's going to be a fun one for sure. Make sure you tune in for it. Race officials setting this restart next for a single file restart. We did this last night. It did seem to help a little bit, but again, with as many trucks as we have here, it's such a small racetrack, it's a minor help, but it does help. What it does do is it really eliminates that disadvantage for the second place truck. We got to restart single file here. He's not going to be in as bad of a position, Ricky Wittenberg that is, to lose that second spot to Albert Anderson, because he's already going to be in the bottom side. He can defend it a lot easier.
What it does do, Steve, is open up that opportunity for the late dive bomb getting into one with that inside being completely open. I think you keep your eye out. I think you may see some of that. We saw some of that last night.
Good enough again, gets away. Half-second advantage back to Ricky Wittenberg, Albert Anderson, Tim Pope, Robertson, the top 5. Some fresh faces here at the front of the field, and much like we saw last night, a lot of those faces up here have not made a pit stop. Craig Goodenough, Ricky Wittenberg, Albert Anderson all have yet to come to pit lane. Pope has, Robertson has. Derek Welch has also stayed out. So is Chris Klein in 8th. Now, Chris, we saw you and the Track Bar Motorsports guys kind of do the same thing last evening. There was a time where the only drivers that hadn't pit were you three, and you were all in the top 3 at the time. What was the real mindset behind that? Just track position that much more important than tires and fuel?
Well, we were just trying to run it to where if by some chance it did run cautions out, Steve, here.
Mike Adamson looks to be the culprit again. Cautions breed cautions. We're certainly seeing a lot of that tonight.
At this rate, Steve, I don't think Craig Goodenough's going to spill his caramel macchiato he's got in his car.
At this rate, I don't know if his fuel man's going to need to spill any fuel. Adamson just overdriving it again, it looks. I can't tell if that's a throttle issue or a brake issue. I want to look at it one more time. And I'm not disparaging when I say overdriving it. It's a fine line you got to walk. That's brakes.
He's all the way in, yeah. He's sliding all the way in. Probably increase the brake bias just a little bit, and I think he might be able to get that corrected just a little.
I mean, if you guys are listening to the broadcast while you're racing, move that brake bias as far forward as you can go, as long as you're if you're having problems, send it to the front. I mean, if you can drive it with it all the way in the rear, more power to you. But if she's real loose on entry, move it up. You'll be happier. So looky, we got a new leader here, Tim Pope, the 23rd starting position. He is out in front. He has made a pit stop. It was lap 42. Now, if we ran green from that point, would absolutely need to make a pit stop. I just don't know what the math turns into when we start worrying about all these cautions that we've had. Do you think Pope is in a position where he can afford to run this out to the end without stopping again?
No, I don't think. I mean, even with cautions as frequently as we're getting them, I still don't think he's going to be able to make it to the end. We were able to go. That's what we were talking about before the caution. We were able to go about 100 laps, and our goal was to get there to make it on a full green flag run if it stayed green the whole way.
Base truck back in, ready for the restart. Robertson stepping out of line here, looking for the race lead. That's how it's done, folks. Pope does a good job just to let him go. Robertson with about 10 lap newer tires. I don't know how significant that is with the number of cautions that we have had, but Pope didn't put up much of a fight. He says, you know what, go ahead, man, go burn him off. If we do run green, he'll come back to me. That's one thing I love about Tim Pope. He's kind of quiet and reserved in the interviews, but he's a thinking race car driver. He's got the talent out there. Knows when it's time to fight, knows when it's not, and he's showing that here as he runs in second. Robertson takes over the top spot here, coming to 90 laps on the board. Checking on the stream chat again, Fahey says, get ready for some throwbacks next week at Darlington. Like one of the iRacing painters out there, I think it's Fahey Race Wraps, if I remember correctly. And then he follows it up with Zach Millett going to be out there with no front calipers. Yeah, that's true too. I will say Zach was instrumental in teaching me how to drive one of these trucks or cars with a ton of rear brake in them. It really has helped me, but he runs some crazy rear brake. I don't know how he does it.
He just told me to hold your breath until your face turns blue, and that's about where you're at.
Right. Klein and Everidge battling it out here. This is for position, and Everidge goes around. And he's trying to gather it up. You're almost better off just staying put. You're probably going to get a hit either way, but 12th caution of the night, the 82, Mike Everidge in trouble. Chris Klein was to the inside. Yeah, as soon as Klein got back to the gas, he made a little bit of contact with Everidge. Around the 82 went, but yeah, tough break there. He gets into McAdam there. I think if Everidge just kind of stayed put, I don't know. What do you think, Chris? What's the best move there? You're up in that top lane.
I just sit there and hold those brakes until either you get hit by somebody else or everybody's past you.
Close your eyes and pray.
Yep.
Caution number 12 on the Speedway, 93 laps in the books. Again, this session limited to 2 hours and 5 minutes, so if we get to the time limit prior to the lap count, iRacing will automatically throw a white flag in due time. The race will wrap up accordingly. Keep you guys abreast as we approach it. As we're just about halfway, and even with these cautions, we've only used up about 47 minutes of that, so I think we're going to be okay unless things get way worse. Pace truck darts down into the pit lane. Robertson and Pope going to lead him to green. Andrew Player and Mayberry battling it out here. George Rincon in the mix as well. This is for position. Oh, Rincon up a bit. Maybe some contact with Mayberry, but they both drive through. Osborne trying to take a spot from Mayberry. Mayberry tries to cut down in front of, I think it was the 10 of Andrew Coffin. And caution out again, the 434, Kevin Hunt slow in the bottom of the racetrack. Hunt's there parked right near pit out. May fire it up and get moving here. Let's take a look, unpack this one. Looks like more rear brake there, Chris.
Yeah, that's the story of these setups here.
It's pretty late in the corner, though. I don't know, maybe he was sliding it all the way through. Let's look again.
It happened in practice, to me. You can counter steer for quite a while until these things fully go around. I mean, you can see it step out real early.
As soon as he freaking got into the corner.
And the bad thing is once these things start sliding, you're very lucky to catch it. I mean, otherwise it's pretty much going around the whole time.
101 laps complete. We're going to catch the restart here and then go to our side-by-side. If we catch a caution in the middle of it, well, you'll see it happen. We will finish out our side-by-side and we will return, as I did last night. I'm going to go take some more drugs. Legal ones, don't panic. So as they run, it's Robertson, Pope, Andrew Player, George Rincon, John Osborne, the 92 of Greg Klein, Andrew Coffin, Russ Kilgore. You got Dixon and Sean McDonald, the top 10. Again, some fresh faces out there. So far, biggest mover on the field is Tim Pope. He's up 21 spots from 23rd. So he runs in that number 7 truck in the second spot. So, I don't know, Chris, I think it's safe to say we're going to run single file restarts the rest of the night. Though we did go back double file last night, so I don't know, there's a chance.
Yeah, I think you'll probably see them go back double file with 20 or 30 to go.
Pace trucks in, green back in the air. Robertson and Pope, 1-2 down into turn number 1. Player, defensive line in the entrance to turn 1, trying to keep Rincon behind him. So Robertson back to the line. And we'll step aside, get our side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, you saw Greg Dobson in trouble during the break. So we go back to green. Robertson out in front. Hope runs second. Rincon, Osborne, Klein the top five. Getting a little darker here in Martinsville as the day is getting a little bit longer. And caution out again. David Feit involved in this one and others. Albert Anderson, looks like Kelly Cool as well. Looked like a real early checkup for a fight. Ricky gets into the back, but that really didn't cause the issue. A little bit of contact with Derek Welch and Dave Feit. Alan Vaught. Ricky Wittenberg also in pit lane. Alan still sits there.
His crew's done a pretty good job of getting his truck back in good shape. I haven't really seen him back towards the front at all, but it looks relatively clean.
Right front fender had some damage to which he just got that fixed, so he's just trying to get that truck clean. He's had plenty of opportunity to do it. So Alan Vaught's still back in the 27th spot, though I think, yeah, he is still on the lead lap. Lori Vaught in the chat. Another calculation. I removed this track from the league. Ready for the restart again here. Trevor Robertson, Tim Pope, Rincon, Osborne, and Klein, the top five. Green back in the air. Good jump for the sixth. Battle for position for second shaping up already. Rincon looked like he had a bit of a run down into turns 1 and 2, but tucks back in behind the 7. And the yellow is out again. Looks like Kevin Hunt and Mayberry still having some issues out there. Mayberry driving away, so is now Kevin Hunt. So that's it. Hunt missed his braking point. Tried to avoid contact with the truck in front of him, so drove down to the bottom of the track and then ultimately washes up in the path of Mayberry. Both drivers taking a pretty hard hit there. Again, good thing it is just a sim. That was a big smack. $16 cautions after 120 laps. Top 10 is Robertson, Pope, Rincon, Osborne, Klein, Andrew Coffin, Russ Kilgore, McDonald, Dixon, and Everidge. Sunshine now blanketing the racetrack on this overcast day. Likely to raise the the track temperature slightly. We'll see where we're at. Track temp still cool though. It was 81 at the start, 79 right now. Still cloudy skies. See the sun though starting to peek out, so we'll check back on that if it stays. They raise these temperatures a little bit. Back under green, little wheel spin for the 6. Still gets away clean, but Pope might have had the same problem as Rincon. Was a little bit closer this time, but still not able to get down to the low end of the racetrack. Runs in the tire tracks to Tim Pope. That's the battle for second. Steps out again. Now takes a look in turn 3. Nothing doing there. Real hard on the brakes is Pope. Starting to lose the rear end, and it comes around, scrapes the wall. He'll lose the spot and then some. Tim Pope doing what we've seen so many do here tonight, lock up the rear end. It starts to get sideways, and he has to correct. Did a good enough job to not loop it all the way around, but it still goes up the track and pancakes the safer barrier. It's not slowing him down, though. He's back on the attack all over the back bumper of the 10 of Andrew Coffin. Now trying the outside. We saw some drivers capable of doing that last night, making that pass around on the high lane. Pope's got more to worry about, though. Russ Kilgore there was all over his tailgate there and into turn number 3. We'll see if it happens again into 1. It's a little bit closer, but not close enough. Robertson still the leader and stretching his legs. 1.5 seconds the lead now for the 6 over George Rincon and Osborne. Again, tire wear, maybe not as much of an issue as we would anticipate normally, because Robertson made his pit stop about 13 laps prior to 2nd and 3rd place. All those drivers taking 4 tires. And yellow is out again. Mike Everidge this time. Mike just noses it into the fence here on the front stretch. Almost backs it up into the leaders. Oof. Gotta watch that relative. So it looks like Everidge drove it up into the marbles there, got his tires dirty, and as soon as he put the power back down, around she went.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times tonight, Steve. Get up in those marbles, and as this race goes on, you get more and more marbles to the outside. You're bound to see that more and more if people keep getting up there.
Checking on track temp again. We are up 3 degrees in just the last couple of laps as the sun still blankets the speedway. Well, that's an old school sticker on the right in front of the right rear, that Pepsi Challenger logo. It brings back memories. So I think at this point, Chris, unless somehow we go green all the way to the end, we should be good to go on fuel for everybody. In fact, 70 to 72 laps being that fuel window under green flag conditions. We're already there.
Yeah, I think the guys that came down and pit just now, I think even if it does go green the rest of the way, they could probably milk it to where they're good till the end, even on a full fuel run. That was kind of our goal last night, was to get to a position where if by some miracle we didn't have a caution, we were good on fuel when maybe everybody else wasn't. So, but I think everybody can make it now. That did pit.
Well, while we have this opportunity, just want to remind everybody out there watching, if you are so courteous as to do so, go ahead and click that thumbs up. I know it's been a rough race, but we're trying up here. The likes still help regardless of the racing experience itself. So give us that thumbs up, help us out, get some fresh eyeballs on the league and the channel. It's free to do. If you're already watching, you might as well. And 1,000 thank yous. His truck is in. Chris Klein now your race leader as Andrew Player, Kyle Vaught, Jeremiah Burke, and Dustin Eaton, the new top 5 as they stayed out during this caution. Looks like everybody back to 8 stayed out. Battle for the lead. Player jumps to the inside of Chris Klein. May have trouble in behind. Couple of trucks. Caution is out. Jeremiah Burke was the one stranded in the middle of the racetrack there, I believe. Let's get a look, see what happened just a moment ago to put us under the yellow for the 18th time tonight. much rear brake. I mean, just spitballing here, but what do we say next time we just run this race without any yellows? Just turn them off.
Oh, Lord.
Just let it go. No fast repairs, no yellows. Every man for himself. Let it happen. It could be the greatest idea on earth or the worst one. They have equal opportunity to be both.
Well, I don't think you'd have to worry about making it a full 200 laps, though. So that may be a positive for us, I guess.
Well, you could still make it 200 laps, but if there's no cautions, you don't need to worry about it. You still got to worry about pit strategy because you're going to have to pit.
I don't think anybody's surviving 200 laps with no fast repairs and with no cautions.
Okay. Somebody will.
Could always throw it down there in the old school figure eights.
Jesse Redding in the chat says, it's a game already, Steve. That would be a wreck fest. I mean, okay, so maybe we do it without damage? I don't know. The problem is I like this place too much to say, don't run there again. It's terrible. Gotta find all options to try and make it work.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I love this place. And that's why when you were asking about the heats earlier, I like old school of the full field. You just gotta just patience when it comes to, I mean, we ran into the same thing last night. It's, you know, just trying to figure out everybody being able to race around each other.
Coming to lap 138, finishing up caution 18. Barney with the green in hand, and we're back underway. Battle for the lead again. Klein to the outside. Player trying to take advantage down low. And Trevor Robertson on fresh rubber working his way back through alongside the 68 of Dustin Wade. And we got trouble again. No, 3 and 4 wide. We're going to have trouble if we're not careful. Craig Goodenough trying to fish his way through, but the yellow is out again. Pile up here, it looks like turn 4. Everidge, Mayberry, Jeremiah Burke. Maybe Greg Dobson has already driven away. Let's get a look. So that was already happening. Dobson drove into it after the fact. Let's see what happened here. The 0-1. Making the move inside Derek Welch. Welch gave him plenty of space. Nice job by him. He saw it already happen. It looks like Mayberry happened first. So that seems like brakes, but it looks like Adamson got crossed up. It might have distracted Mayberry or made him panic a bit on the brakes, and comes around, and then you see the rest happening here. So Rhett Arnell in the chat has a decent idea. I wish we could do this. Just randomly remove a truck every caution. Or you could do it, I'm trying to remember if it was Forza or another game out there where you could go out. It was like, I don't know if it was Time Attack or something else, but the slowest car on track after each lap would get removed. So there was one man standing. Or lady. Caution number 19 here, 143 laps go up on the board. Andrew Player now, your race leader. And that's not really a surprise. Player started in 6th, so he's got pace. Chris Klein running in 2nd. He started 31st, so he's worked his way through strategy and maybe some attrition as well. Kyle Vaught involved in a couple incidents here tonight, but he's stuck with it. He's up 23 spots in 3rd. Dustin Eaton from 17th. He's 4th. Robertson has gotten back to the top 5. You know he's got a strong truck. He's spent a lot of the evening here at the front of the field. Not as much as that iRacing Silverado, though. Yes, we all know it's a Silverado, even though they took the badging off of it. Back for the restart. Player, Klein, Vaught, Eaton, Robertson. On the throttle. Late restart for Kyle Vaught. Top 2 get away pretty quick. Vaught, though, drives it back to the bottom here. Closes up quickly to Chris Klein. And we got more trouble here in 1. Did the caution not come out? No, it didn't. How did that not happen? We're still green. All right. Guess iRacing got tired of it. Here we go. Back down the back straightaway. Andrew Player with the lead. Chris Klein. Kyle Vaught now to the inside for the 2nd spot. Trevor Robertson up to 4th. Dustin Eaton working through in 5th. I haven't talked a whole lot about the 14 tonight, but there he is. In contention, and Kevin Hunt just gets dumped. Chris Klein trying to make the move there last minute, just didn't have room to do it. Drives into the back of the 4-3-4. That brings us under the 20th caution of the evening. Jesse Redding says in the chat, it's a very fun track. Just patience. How fitting. Well, let's watch this again here. You see Klein working to the outside of Kyle Vaught. Hunt had, it looks like, an issue out of turn 4, so he's very slow on the front stretch. You see Klein closing in, waits till the very last minute to try and duck down in front of Kyle Vaught. There was not enough room to do so, not clear, going too fast to avoid contact with Hunt, and then Hunt drives into the back after the fact. I know we're not professionals out here, but that wasn't a great decision. I think I scared you, Chris, because you just sit here in silence after I say that. Way to back me up.
Well, no, I was sitting here thinking, I'm kind of disagreeing with you. It looked like a pretty professional move. I think I saw Matt Kenseth do that to Joey Logano one time. They're professionals.
And what happened to Kenseth the next week? He got to watch the race from home.
Hey, listen. Well, maybe somebody will be able to watch the famed Darlington Raceway next week here in Darlington, South Carolina.
Funny enough, through all that, Kyle Vaught ends up as the race leader. You know, some guys like Robertson, that was lap 129. Eaton was 114. Yeah, no, it's not from pit stop. Somehow he ended up with the lead out of all that. Go back and look at this again. What did I miss? Did Player get caught up in this too?
Oh yeah, Klein got him after he was sideways in the corner.
Oh, I didn't even see the 13 get nailed, so that's huge. Lori Vaught in the chat just says, exactly. Now, I don't necessarily know what she's talking about because there is a delay from here to there, but we'll just leave it at that, I guess.
I know what she's talking about.
Okay. $50 laps to go here for Martinsville, working caution number 20. On 75 miles in an hour and 18 minutes. Green back in the air. Kyle Vaught, Trevor Robertson, Eaton, Wade, Rincon, the top 5. Andrew Player is going to be on a mission. Looks to the inside of Rincon. Slides up the racetrack a bit. Tim Pope on the move as well. Gets through with the 81 of Osborne now in the rearview mirror. Now good enough. Going to try and make a move to the inside, but not enough. Not close enough. Little bump to the back. Change for the race lead. Robertson gets through. Takes it away from Kyle Vaught. Back to the front of the field, the 6 of Robertson. The cream rising to the top again. Ricky Wittenberg back in 14th. And we're under caution again. Jeremiah Burke and Dave Mayberry. Looks like this starts off ahead of Mayberry. So we'll watch the Jeremiah Burke incident, see if we can get a view of that. Oh, that truck is in trouble. I think he's already got suspension damage. He was wobbling down the straightaway. And I think he knows it. That's as soon as he has that incident, he just goes right to pit lane. So watch it a little bit slower here, Chris. Maybe you can see what I'm talking about. And I did just get a message here in the chat from Jeremiah. Gotta park it. It's just too much damage. It's making the thing undrivable. And you can see the right front's like turned in.
Yeah, for sure. And under braking, even with a brand new truck with no damage, as soon as you get in the brakes, these things want to pull to the left a little bit. Anyway, so when he got in the brakes, you could tell with that damage, it just shot him straight left.
It's a likely night over for Jeremiah Burke. John McAdam makes a point here. Says 3 wrecks and you're out rule. Some leagues do that. Again, it's not really the norm in this league or Num Thumbs. We did talk about that last night as well. I think it's just the number of trucks, how difficult they are to drive at this place. It's going to happen. Again, typically, these races do not turn into wreck fests like this. These guys are usually pretty good. Let's try it again here. Base truck is in. And caution again. I'm not sure what it is for this time. Maybe Everidge. I don't know. He was just leaving pit lane at the time. No, that was a while ago. I've got no indication as to what caused this one, but the algorithm responded.
Maybe Barney just doing it by habit.
Shadow's getting long here in Martinsville. Light's probably going to come on here pretty soon. We're going to step out here, get a quick break out of the way. We'll be back after this. Stay with us.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, 161 laps complete. 162 up on the board, on the one to go. Before we get to the restart, take a look at the upcoming schedule. Of course, we've got Darlington Raceway next week, 150 laps out at the Lady in Black. That'll be on the 9th. Then the 16th, we'll go to Bristol. And, of course, for Easter, we're probably not going to be racing officially, but it says, looks like the 23rd, they've got a fun week, something to be determined. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Don't know if we're going to be broadcasting that or not, but nevertheless, that's what's upcoming. Certainly more to come all the way through early July. Robertson up to a whole second already here over second place Kyle Vaught. Laps winding down here at Martinsville. Battle for position here. Eaton and Wade side by side. Eaton in the top side of the 14 truck. Might have pancaked the wall just a bit on the exit of turn number 2. Eaton falling backwards. Tim Pope, an abrupt lane change, goes to the outside, looking for room around the 28 of Rincon. This is the battle for 4th. Can you imagine if we had a Martinsville hot dog every time we had a caution tonight? We'd be in an ambulance.
Yeah.
Dustin Wade now making a move here on the 16. Let's move Dustin Wade up into the second spot. Rincon now third. Pope trying to do something with Kyle Vaught here. Following up on Alan Vaught, he's running back in the 17th spot. Not out of this yet. Got to give him a pat on the back for not just giving up. A lot of work to be repaired on that truck tonight. He got most of it done and complete. Craig Goodenough trying to work his way back through. Again, he was the pole sitter here tonight. Put it out on top spot to start this one off. Now runs in the 7th position, looking for more. Robertson starting to dominate here. 2 full seconds out ahead of Dustin Wade in the second spot as we're at 30 laps remaining here for Martinsville. Already likely our longest green flag run of the night. Got the restart at lap 159. Everybody pretty well single file here all the way through top 8. Player to the inside now, making a move. And the caution comes out again. Kevin Hunt with another problem. So it might have been twofold here. Looks like Dobson No, this is Hunt. Oh, Dobson's right behind him, so this might be one of the same here. Just too much brake. Got in too hot, probably missed the entry, and just hammered on the brake pedal. Greg Dobson out of this one here, and the chat says, I'm done. 8 minutes of damage. She is a handful. And we have said that a bunch here tonight. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here this evening. These trucks are a handful. Chris, you sat behind the wheel of this thing last night. You had a good night with it. You still had a top 3 finish, but you've got to drive them the right way, and if you don't, they're going to make you pay.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even without damage. I mean, we were talking before we started the broadcast here, Steve, that I came out of the pits, my first lap of practice, went into 3. I wasn't even full speed, went into 3, got in the brakes, and the thing just looped around on me. So I know that these things are a definite handful. So we had that hot tamales truck facing the wrong direction pretty early. So you kind of pick up on little things. That brake bias was pretty much fixed what I was experiencing with it. Now I didn't have the experience of trying to drive it with damage. So I can't imagine what that's like. And, so we're obviously seeing that these things are still a handful even afterward.
Really got to give a call to Trevor Robertson, though. He has somehow managed to drive up through the field after his pit stop put him kind of deep in the field. He managed to get through there, avoid the chaos, led a bunch of laps early, made that pit stop, got caught near the rear, now drove through the field. Now he's back leading here with 25 to go. There we go. Pace truck is in. It'll be 24 laps remaining when we take the green flag. Robertson on the gas. Jumps out to almost 4/10 on the opening turn. Side by side for second. Pope gets alongside the 68 of Dustin Wade. They did go double file this time. Time to put your big boy panties on and get after it. Rincon routes the 7 of Pope up the racetrack, and he's in the fence. Wade overdrives the corner a bit, allows Rincon to close the gap, but further behind, Pope still trying to regroup. He's going to get the wall again out of turn 4. Contact with Bittner and Ricky Wittenberg. Osborne, we got trouble here on the front stretch. No caution. Bittner's now stopped. There's the yellow. Caution number 24 here, 21 to go. Kind of saw it happening live as we watched Tim Pope trying to work his way back through. Gets the wall, bounces off of the wall into Bittner. Bittner gets shoved down into Wittenberg. Ricky gets through, but Osborne not so lucky. And I'm wondering if Bittner just stood on the brakes there and said, you know what, I'm done.
But with the angle that he hit the 81, it may have made it to where the thing was unable to turn.
Couldn't steer it, yeah.
That's a big hit for the 81, too. I'm curious to see what kind of damage he's going to have.
So there's the damage on the 81. A little bit of left rear, some left front. I know they're in the corner. I'm trying to see if I can get an idea if that thing's towed out or not.
I was going to say, do we have an in-car camera with the 81 this week?
Driver's eye camera.
And the wheel looks pretty straight, so might be all right.
Yeah, I think he's okay. Ellie Nope in the chat goes, please, no more cautions. I can't eat any more hot dogs. That's the comment of the night right there. Josh Bittner throws a yup up in the chat. I'm thinking that was in response to, I'm going to park it, I'm done. So on the 1 to go, lap, or 17 to go when we get back to start finish and restart this race. Player getting into the back of Wade. I don't know what's going on here. Is Player having an issue? Player's in the fence. I don't know what's going on here with the 13. He drove into the back of Wade coming to the restart. He's still having a problem here. I don't know if he's got a hardware issue or what. It's going to jack everybody up here. Be lucky if he has a connection problem. He disappears. So we stay green. We'll see if Player comes back in. I hate to say it, hopefully not, but Robertson gets the jump on the restart. Racone runs second, then Dustin Wade third. Here comes Craig Goodenough. Russ Kilgore in trouble. Caution is out again. Oh, Millen, I'm buns all day.
100%.
That S4 guy in the chat says, buns or bunless? I prefer the buns. With all the fixins. So let's get a look here what happened with the 2. Russ Kilgore. Working to the outside of Ricky Wittenberg here. Early on the brakes, I think Pope's going to get into him. Or maybe not. Oh, yeah. But he was still at the bottom of the racetrack. I just think he checked up significantly early. But then he reeled in Wittenberg. I don't know what happened there. That's interesting. Going back to Andrew Player, he was having a solid run, but it looks like coming to green, the connection issue has doomed him for the rest of this race. He's likely out of this. And he still has not come back into the session, so likely a connection issue. We're lucky to have not lost power here. I just got a message from the kids' school. There's no school tomorrow because there's no power. So far, so good. Mike Fahey says, don't we all? It's like, well, not all of us. Good to see Mike Fahey and Zach Millett conversing in the chat. You know, Fahey is Millett's favorite driver after all. Allie Nope says, oh no. Not sure if it means the caution or the buns.
Either way, that's 25 hot dogs. Buns or not, you're going to be pretty stuffed after that.
Pancreas is working overtime here. Speaking of overtime, we do have one green-white checkered if we need it here tonight. So on the 1 to go, we'll get the restart with 11 laps remaining. Tried to warn Barney here. Hope his arm isn't wore out yet. So not only does he have to throw the yellow, he's got to also throw the green after that. So that's 50 times he's had to wave that thing tonight. And he's just getting after it still. Green flag back in the air. Battle for second. Rincon around Dustin Wade. We'll see if he can get clear. Got him for now. Tries to close the door into turn 3. Slips up the racetrack. So does Wade. Gets into the 28. Around goes Rincon in front of traffic, and we've got caution on the speedway again. Oh, big time hit from Anthony Williams. Saw that one happening as it happened live. Take another look at it. So Rincon was clear here. Could have come down a little sooner, but wanted to get the better arc into the corner. But you're going to see Wade's going to drive it in pretty deep. It looks Rincon still slips up the track, but as soon as Wade sees that, he gets to the gas just a hair too early, slips up the track, gets into the left rear Rincon, and well, now you're broadside in front of the outside line of cars, or trucks for that matter. So player has made it back out. Got a connection issue, it seems, here for the 13. Fortunately for him, his good afternoon has gone down right the tubes. Player now shown in 26th position. About 3 laps down, 3 or 4. "26 cautions so far, 8 remain. 25 minutes remain in the race session. I think we'll get there, no problem."
Speaking of 8, Steve, take a look at who's running in position 8 here after a long, eventful night.
Alan Vaught back into the top 10. We've talked about this a bunch this season with different leagues, and I always point it out when I can, or really see that it's happening. But Alan Vaught involved. He was fast early. Started, I think it was 3rd. Got involved in an incident or two here. Had some damage to the truck. He has not given up every caution. He was headed down to pit lane to get repairs made. If you look at his pit count, he's been down pit lane 12 times. There's only one other truck out there that's got more, and that's Larry Dickerson at 13. But then it shows you the effort he's been putting in. Not willing to quit, trying to maximize his day points-wise. He's doing just that because he's worked himself back into that top 10. Robertson on the gas again. 6 laps to go. Dustin Eaton 3 wide with Alan Vaught. Vaught in the middle. Greg Klein in the bottom. Eaton gives the space to the 33, and we got wrecking up ahead. Dustin Wade in the fence. Caution number 27. Eaton gets clipped in the right rear. He gets up the racetrack. We got a big pile up here in 4. Mike Fahey in the chat says, "Caution fest or not, it's always a good time watching a track limit stream." Well, there is that, I guess. Thanks, Mike. All right, let's see what happened to Dustin Wade. He was up one of the front runners here. So Ricky Wittenberg was in behind. This is going down the backstretch here into turn 3. Ricky real late on the brakes, gets to the inside just a touch, but clips the left rear of Wade. It's okay if you want to try and do that if you're Ricky Wittenberg, but you got to keep it pinned on the bottom because that's going to be the end result otherwise. You got Ellie Nope in the chat. Is this a record? It is for track limits. I don't know what else we'd be comparing it to. Yeah, I know we're getting late in the race. I don't know. Who do you give that one to, Chris? Is it Dustin trying to protect? I mean, he's got to know that if he comes down, the 55 is going to be there. And if he makes contact, he's coming around.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna defend that move, I think you have to be further down the track. I'm not saying that's 68's fault, but I think that's a racing deal. I mean, especially with under 5 to go, you're trying to pick up every spot you can. I think Wittenberg is going to send it in there a little bit further, but I think if the 68 were down protecting a little bit more, then he may have forced, the 55 to the outside even. So I don't know. I think they came together, and just the 68 got the worst end of it for sure.
And it looks like this will put us into our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. First and only attempt. We only do it once here in the Vigilante Racing League, so first try. Green flag will come out. If the caution comes out prior to the leader getting back to the white, that'll be it. That's the race. Try to get this one in under green. Pace truck is in. Field in 3. Front row, Robertson and Goodenough. This ought to be fun to watch. Green back in the air. Robertson on the jump. Wittenberg there to the inside of Goodenough. We'll see what these guys do down into turn 1. Still side by side for a second. Robertson looking for the white flag out of turn number 4. There it is. Barney's waving it. Final lap from Martinsville. Trouble on the front stretch after the white flag waves. Hopefully it's clear before the leaders get back around. There's trouble behind. Albert Anderson goes around. Robertson with a healthy lead back to second place. We'll see if he takes his time through to the start finish. Last lap coming to the start finish line. Checkered flag. Robertson wins it. Ricky Wittenberg comes home in second. Holds off Craig Goodenough. Average blowing up on the backstretch after the fact. So Trevor Robertson picking up the race win here in a marathon from Martinsville. Larry Dickerson coming through. I don't know if he was angry or if he was just trying to get by, but drives into the back of the 55. With that, we're going to step aside. We'll get our break out of the way. We'll be back, hopefully, with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back in Martinsville Speedway, race number 7 in the books. We'll see if we get a word with our top 3 finishers. We've got 2 so far. Trevor Robertson's going to be first here. Of course, he is the winner tonight. We'll pull him up into the broadcast booth. Trevor, it's Steve and Chris with Track Limits. You got a good copy?
Yes, sir.
Trevor, congratulations, man. I know this one was an absolute chaos fest, but you got through it, and you had to work for it. We watched you lead some laps early. A pretty dominant truck out there, but then through the pit cycles with some guys pitting earlier than others, you get kind of mired back in the pack. You had to drive through there, avoid some chaos, but eventually back out front, taking this checkered flag, man. Walk us through your race.
The key was trying to be in an odd position. I know the first several restarts, I was super lucky getting this restart on the inside every time. I mean, it's just two positions, one position every restart, and it just and trying to just not loop it around. I had my brake bias pretty low, a lot lower than everybody else did, I think, but I just tried to keep it clean. Almost got a 0X, got one hit in the butt one time.
Well, it is what it is. Still a solid performance. A clean race for you. Congratulations on the win. Looking forward now to the Lady in Black, Darlington, South Carolina next week. Race number 8. How do you feel about your odds out there? Much bigger racetrack, but still pretty unique.
Definitely unique. If I can keep my truck clean and not get too many of those Darlington stripes in that turn 3 and 4, I think I have a pretty good chance to, for sure, bring out the top 10. I might, and depending on how it goes, if we stay green, I'm usually decent at saving tires, so I maybe a top 5.
All right, Trevor. Well, job well done again. Wish you the best of luck next week. Who do you want to thank before I kick you out of here?
You in the booth, the guys in the booth, keeping it entertaining every week. I enjoy watching the race after everybody, gets their breath back there. And Alan and Jess, or not Jess, Alan and Lori for keeping everything going, and I know she's going to have a long race report, and that's about it.
All right, Trevor. Well, again, congratulations for the win here at Martinsville. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week at Darlington.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Trevor Robertson, your race winner here from Martinsville. Next, we're going to pull the driver, the number 55, Ricky Wittenberg, up into the broadcast booth. Takes the second position from a 4th place starting position here tonight. Ricky, it's Steve and Chris in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Steve, yeah, I got you.
Ricky, congratulations, man. Job well done out there. We know it was just chaos, dodging wrecks, dodging trucks, doing this, doing that. But, man, a quality qualifying effort, 4th quick, driving it to a 2nd place finish here tonight. What was the key to success outside, of course, avoiding a lot of those wrecks?
Just being patient. I mean, the whole thing in Martinsville, it's my favorite track besides Bristol, and you just got to be patient here. You can't overdrive the corners. You've got to give people room and give and take, and I'm sure I think I owe Dustin Wade maybe a little bit of an apology. I thought I had the inside on him. He left me a lane, and he closed it, and we got together there at the end of the race, and I think that's the only person that I made contact with, and I hate that, but you just gotta baby the car and not slam on the gas. I mean, it's kind of a finesse track, and I feel like it kind of suits my style because I'm not real aggressive. I try to baby the car, so it worked out for once. Never does, but tonight it did.
Certainly did work out here. P2 at the paper clip. We look forward to the Lady in Black next week at Darlington. Again, a different racetrack. One of the old school tracks, just like it is here in Martinsville, but a little more room to work with, at least as long as you're not right up against that wall. What's the strategy rolling into Darlington next week?
It's really about the same, except at Darlington, if you get the wall and get some aero, you're going to lose some speed. So the main thing is to stay out of trouble at Darlington too. Just try to stay off of that wall and baby the car, save the tires. Because I think at Darlington, with the way iRacing throws cautions, a lot of times people will spin to the inside, and it don't trip iRacing cautions as much at Darlington. So I hope, knock on wood, that we get some long green runs next week, and we can try to spread out a little bit, because that'll make it more fun. I know when I made this poster for Martinsville, I called it the Massacre, and I'll never do that again.
Yeah, that's your fault.
I think I jinxed it. I think it's all my fault.
Well, again, Ricky, we appreciate those thumbs coming to us each and every week. You certainly make my job a whole lot easier, because I'm not that great at them, and yours are just fantastic. So thank you for that. A job well done here at Martinsville. We wish you the best of luck next week at Darlington. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Well, definitely the league, Alan and Lori, for putting it on you for broadcasting. Obviously, my team ain't dead yet. I mean, all those guys are stand-up guys, and even when we're having all these long, drug-out cautions, they're fun to be in the room with. Kyle, Tim, Josh, Trevor, and won the race, so good for him on that. And Austin was missing tonight, but he's dodging some tornadoes, so hopefully he's safe in Kentucky.
I wish everybody safe haven as far as that's concerned. Ricky, thanks for talking to us again. Second place, congratulations, and good luck next week.
All right, thanks, man.
Ricky Wittenberg, your second place finisher here at Martinsville. Last but not least, we're going to pull pole sitter Craig Goodenough up into the broadcast booth, put that truck on pole position with a blistering lap in qualifying. Was not able to get back to the point to finish this one off, but still a third place finish. Craig, it's Steve and Chris in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you, Steve and Chris. How's it going?
It's going good, man. Congratulations, third place. A brilliant run here tonight. Fast lap in qualifying, as we said. You, as well as Robertson, had to kind of work your way back through the field. It was fun to try and watch that, but what was the key to that? Obviously, you got to avoid those wrecks out there, but how do you get through that traffic at a place like Martinsville? It's so difficult to pass.
So the biggest thing for me was to have a bunch of exit speed and get kind of like showing my nose before the entry, so like they knew that I was there, and then just hug that curbing on the inside. The most difficult part, I would say, of the entire race was definitely trying to get that's why I stayed as long as I could, run as much gas out of it as I could, because I knew once I got back there, when you only have 3, 4, 5, 10 lap shootouts before cautions, you really can't clip many cars off. So it's just difficult to get back up to, towards the front that way.
Well, next week we go to Darlington, South Carolina. It's a much faster racetrack, a little more room. Again, we talked to Ricky Wittenberg a moment ago about how the key really just to keep the thing out of the fence. But what is the strategy at a place like Darlington? Obviously, we get some long green flag runs, likely to have some tire concerns and some tire strategy at play. What's your mindset going into the Lady in Black?
Definitely the tire management is definitely my biggest thought when I first get into that is tire management, and then not putting yourself in silly spots where you could get tangled up with someone coming into turn one. That's one that you can really kind of get sideways, and then get two going out turn two with too wide is very, very difficult. So you can put yourself in a bad spot there. So if I can keep clear of those two spots of the racetrack, I think we should do pretty well there.
Well, if anybody remembers Days of Thunder, don't pass on the outside of turn 4. And today, that is turn 2, so that makes perfect sense that you don't want to be side by side out of turn 2 there. Craig, congratulations, man. A strong run here tonight. Who do you want to thank before I let you go?
Thanks for you guys sitting up in the booth and watching that chaos. I mean, it wasn't just a race, it was a war. And thanks for Jess and Lori putting on the league. And everybody that sits out there and watches me each week and cheers me on. I appreciate a bunch of it. And we're happy 35 today, so it's not too bad to finish it off with a pole and third place for my birthday.
Well, Craig, congrats and happy birthday, man. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week in Darlington.
Thank you, everyone.
Craig Goodenough, your third place finisher here at Martinsville Speedway. That's going to do it for the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Of course, our top 3 finishers, Trevor Robertson, Ricky Wittenberg, Craig Goodenough. Fourth was Tim Pope, still battled back. Good job by the 7. 19 positions gained on the day for Tim Pope. Got job well done. Greg Klein was 5th. 6th was Sean McDonald. John Osborne 7th. Kyle Vaught 8th. Ellen Vaught 9th. Again, amazing recovery by the 33 to stick with it, get that truck fixed, and battle back to a top 10. Dave Mayberry was 10th. Mike Adamson 11th. DW Derek Welch was 12th. David Feit 13th. 14th went to Russ Kilgore. Jack Dixon was 15th. 16th place finisher Chris Klein. George Rincon was 17th. Dustin Wade, 18th. 19th, Anthony Williams. Albert Anderson was 20th. Mike Everidge, 21st. Larry Dickerson, 22nd. Kelly Cool, 23rd. Dustin Eaton, 24th. 25th was Andrew Player. 26th, Andrew Coffin. 27th, Greg Dobson. Josh Bittner, 28th. 29th, Kevin Hunt. Jeremiah Burke was 30th. 31st, John McAdam. 32nd, John Gallagher. And last but not least, 173 laps down was the 023 of Scott Roney in 33rd. Gotta thank you guys all for tuning in and everyone who stuck with us here tonight. I know it was a rough one. Again, you all know this. It's not the norm around here. It'll be better next week at Darlington, I'm sure of it. But again, thank you for being here. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber, and the thumbs up. Those likes and subscribers, they make a huge difference. Helps push these videos out to some wider audiences, not only for us here at the channel, but also the league that puts on these races. So help us out with there. It's free to do. You don't get billed. You don't get charged. None of that. It really is free. I promise. It's not one of those gimmicks. It's going to wrap it up for us here at Martinsville. Chris Goins, thanks again for joining me in the booth. This is one I really needed your help for, and I appreciate you being here. We'll see you guys at the next one in Darlington.
No problem, Steve. Hope to see you next week.